Good evening, John.
Hello, Eric. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. It's the night before Thanksgiving, and all through the house, the turkey was brining.
Ooh.
And something that rhymes with a mouse.
Okay. That's nice. Turkey was brining. Very cool. Are you having family over?
My wife's parents are in town.
Awesome.
So we ended up getting a very small turkey, and I don't know if I mentioned, we're trying an experiment this year. I am going to smoke the turkey outside.
Oh, on the grill.
Kamado Joe. Yeah, in the Kamado. And we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping it's not a Christmas vacation turkey.
That was dropping in oil though, right?
No, the Christmas.
I know that's like super dangerous.
I watched a bunch of videos, of course, today. The ads were all over the place from the U.S. Consumer Safety something or other, showing people dropping turkeys in oil and burning down their homes.
Yes.
It's like, please be safe.
Yes.
Although I have friends who swear by
I do as well.
Deep frying a turkey. That makes no sense to me. So we're going to try the smoking route this year. I'm brining the turkey. After we're done podcasting here, I'm going to go take it out of the brine and pat it dry. And then tomorrow, I'm going to put a dry rub all over it. First thing in the morning tomorrow.
I'm confused. Why not leave it in the brine overnight?
The instruction I said is you should, for a crispier skin, take it out of the brine the day before and pat it dry and leave it in the fridge.
Basically, let it desiccate
dry out
or evaporate.
Yeah, a little bit. I might not. I might be too tired.
Okay.
And we just might go with a softer.
I think you're going for more flavor or more presentation. I've always been about the more flavor as opposed to the presentation.
I'm with you.
I don't know. But that's a good, I hadn't really thought, how long does it take to smoke a turkey?
So this is not.
It sounds like the beginning of a joke.
Yeah. It's not smoke. It's more like barbecue with not briquettes, but like lump charcoal in the Kamado, but it's at 325.
So
it's still like 15 minutes per pound, roughly. It's not, get up at 6 a.m. and then have it at 6 p.m. smoked. It's not a really super low.
That's tempting, though. I didn't. Ours is actually thawing, not brining. But if I had thought ahead a little bit, it would have been fun to smoke it.
I will let you know how it goes.
Okay.
So my wife is excited about this because that means her oven is completely free to cook lots of other things all day tomorrow. It's not occupied by a turkey for half the day.
Correct.
So if this works out, this may become an annual thing. We'll see.
So how was your week?
It was good. It was a very kind of laid back week, prepping for, the time off here.
Mm-hmm.
Over the weekend, the city of Hillsborough had their Christmas tree lighting bonanza downtown.
Okay.
Downtown Hillsborough. And my wife sings in the organ chorale, a choir, and they had her choir come and sing a bunch of Christmas songs at the lighting ceremony. So we got to go watch her sing with the rest of her choir.
Fun.
And here in a couple of weeks, we get to go see her sing with the Oregon Symphony. So it'll be fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So that was kind of my weekend. Not a whole lot going on.
Huh. Boy, we had the week of music because my kids had a high school band concert last Thursday. I think it was Thursday night, and then which was great. Oh, and the last song that the wind ensemble did was I think it was called Godzilla Eats Las Vegas. It was pretty doggone
Sounds
funny.
like fun.
sounds
like fun either way.
It sounds like a song that the high schoolers would have happily chosen.
Yeah.
But it was pretty funny because they had like as Godzilla was stomping down the street, they had, sort of thematic, Liberace, and then the bands kind of sounded like Liberace, and then it was like stomp, and then like I forget, there were like 3 or 4 like lounge act kind of things, and each time the music kind of trended into like very definable music for that particular person, and then it was pretty funny. But then they also had MYS, the Metropolitan Youth Symphony concert, their first one this past Sunday. So, which they did very well. It was very cool to see and awesome. And then this coming Saturday, we have the symphony does the Looney Tunes, which I'm really looking forward to.
We will be there as well.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I think you and we'll be on the opposite ends of that mezzanine.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll have to find you there. And then I didn't really super plan on this, but then we're also going to Trans-Siberian Orchestra next Monday. So
I am a little jealous of that one too.
Looking forward to that. So a lot of holiday festivities, but
yeah.
Just in
'tis the season.
It totally is the season. In follow up to my mule saga from last week, I went and got the mule today. I have called them every day for the last 3 days. Is it ready yet? Is it done yet? Please don't make me go through like a 5-day weekend. Actually, more like, please don't make my wife go through a 5-day weekend. And they finally called this afternoon, and my wife and I were driving in the car. And we weren't far from home. We were heading back from the store, and they called. So I put it on speaker, and she's like, "Yeah, your meal is done, so it's ready for pickup." And I was like, "Oh, awesome! How late are you open today?" She's like, "Actually, I think we're closing early. I don't know." My wife was like, "Please don't close before we can get there."
We are coming right now.
I was like, I could be there in about 35 minutes. So anyway, and I literally did. I threw the groceries, carried the groceries in and ran out with the truck keys, hooked up the trailer and took off like, peeling off. So anyway, but it's home. It works. Ironically, I didn't actually ask her. So everything okay. But I drove it around this evening a little bit doing some chores. So, but anyway, so I'm happy to have that happen.
Nice. I give you a foreshadowing for one of my something funs.
Oh,
just FYI, all you out there, John and I are now both on Mastodon, infosec.exchange. The links are actually updated on the mostlysecurity.com website if you want to go click and link there and find us there. I don't post there any more than I post on Twitter, but we'll see how this experiment plays out.
I have started my transition, but I intend to leave a comment on the Twitter profile and leave it. So yeah, it's not something I want to support. So there you go.
Yeah,
no Facebook.
I do have. I ended up making 2 different Mastodon accounts, like the InfoSec, because Mastodon is different than Twitter. Twitter is the single home for everything.
Yeah.
Mastodon is more, here's a home for artists, here's a home for whomever, and it federates your posts across all the different things that I follow. So you can follow people from all different types of instances, and it'll show up in your feed. So it's taking a little bit getting used to, but I did create a couple different Mastodon accounts at different homes, like one on technology in general, and then there's the infosec.exchange, which is more security
just
related.
Because you wanted to sort of reserve the name?
Well, there's not many people with my last name on planet Earth, so I generally can get my name anywhere I go, anytime I want. And if I don't, I call up my cousin and say, "Why'd you steal this? Your name?" No, I'm just kidding. So, but yeah, I just grabbed a couple just to see how they worked. And I don't know. I I have never really regretted not grabbing a username anywhere because it usually is always available. But who knows? So
okay. Well,
we'll see.
I got the app on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to get some other dang it.
Yeah, at least you get your profile picture up, so you're not the little elephant.
Is that what I am?
Instead of a bird, it's an elephant. Oh. Yes, it's not an egg. You're a elephant.
For a couple of years, for a lot of years, I think I took their egg, Twitter's egg photo, and I just turned it upside down, and that was my profile. So it looked like an undone account, but anyway. All right, yes. So Mastodon.
That's where you can find us now.
Okay, or on Slack. Yeah.
Yep.
So links on the mostlysecurity.com. Okay. Hey, I threw one thing in follow-up because I'm at least continuing to chow the popcorn on FTX.
Same.
Did you watch the video I posted last week?
Yes, I did.
And was he not very acerbic and dry witted?
Yeah, it was. It was entertaining. Yes.
Yes. Well, he had a follow up this week as well, which was there. But the link I'll throw here in follow up is just to an NBC article that has some additional stuff as of yesterday. But the snowball of a catastrophe kind of continues downhill, and one of the things that came out this past week was they put a new, I guess they call the CEO, but like a corporate manager in place. The same guy that oversaw the shaping up of Enron, or 20 years ago. And even having done that, there were some quotes in a court filing that never have I seen such a lack of corporate controls. They didn't know who worked for the company, didn't know what bank accounts they had. Anyway, just crazy stuff. And then they had bought tons of real estate in the Bahamas for the senior staff, including just buying the places outright in the staff's name, but with no liens or any sort of governance. I saw some other furs about the Bahamas. Said that there was some stuff this week about the Bahamas said the bankruptcy filing wasn't valid because it was the corporate holding is a Bahamian company, and then some other stuff that said that the Bahamian regulators may have instigated the illegal quote unquote removal of some assets overseas, back to the Bahamas, basically, so that it would stay in their jurisdiction. Anyway, all sorts of stuff. Get out your popcorn. Here's another NBC News article, or an NBC News article that kind of summarizes some of the latest things on it. And, it's yet to be seen whether other firms, whether it'll take down any of the other firms. In particular, though, not necessarily things that are non-custodial wallets, but like the crypto lenders, and how solvent are they? Stick the bag in the microwave.
Yeah. All right.
Come on, Eric. Tell me what you really think.
I have nothing to add.
Oh, you do. You just don't want to. Okay.
Anyways, so my topic this week. So we are, I think it's safe to say that you and I are generally Apple fans. Have Macs, have iPhones, have Apple equipment. So this week my article is from a researcher who kind of dug into Apple's privacy policy and then what Apple devices actually send to Apple. And it's not complimentary of Apple. It's, hey, Apple says you flip the switch and they don't send anything to anybody, but he's linked a YouTube video of here's all the stuff you send to Apple. Now, who knows what Apple does with it on their side? Maybe they follow through with what their privacy policy says and don't store anything. Maybe they anonymize the data once they get it on their side. So they don't know that. But, all the stuff about you, your ID that they can link to you as a human, your name, phone number, birth date, email address, all that stuff can be tied to you, even though Apple seems to imply or outright say, depending on which service of Apple's you're using, is that they don't know anything.
Yeah.
Right. So there is some amount of, I think, trust that people think of when they think of Apple, because Apple has kind of pushed themselves as we're a privacy company. We're not an ad company like the other half
commoditize
of the
your
mobile
compliments.
world. Yeah. And so they ran a bunch of tests. So they took a jailbroken iPhone, 14.6, and which allowed them to decrypt all the traffic, and they can show everything that's going. They don't have a decrypted iOS 16 device. However, they're like, based on the encrypted calls that we see coming from the iOS 16 device, they're extremely similar to the unencrypted ones we saw from 14. So it's reasonable to assume that they're probably the same amount of stuff. And it's just pages and pages of data that Apple is sending, what apps you run, how long you're in the apps, what you're doing with the apps, all the apps on your, a lot of stuff you would think, that seems weird that they would want that. That seems very, dare I say, googly to to me. So I don't know what'll become of this, if this will spur anything, but Apple, of course, did not respond to requests for comments on the researchers' information to Gizmodo. It's a Gizmodo article that I read. So we shall see, I suppose. So we don't know what Apple does with the data when it gets to their side, but we know what data gets sent to Apple now. So it seems like a lot more than you would expect. So there you go. Even if you have an Apple phone because you're like, oh, I like the privacy aspect, maybe not as private as you think, or that you're led to believe, I should say.
What's that? There's some kind of quote about democracy being the worst form of government.
Except for all the others.
Other than it's just better than all the others. Yeah, I forget the actual. And I feel like...
Is it Winston Churchill?
You can look that up. I feel the same...
Winston Churchill.
What's the actual quote?
Oh, it says misquoting. Sorry, I Googled it really quick. Democracy is the worst form of government except for all the others. This is what Winston Churchill actually said in his speech to the House of Commons in 1947. It has been said that democracy is the worst form of government except for all those other forms that have been tried from time to time. So it's close. It's close enough.
Close enough.
We're playing horseshoes here. So yeah.
So I mean,
sorry,
that's my feeling about Apple. It's the worst, other than all the other ones.
Yeah.
I have been, so frustrated by various things, and part of it's the lack of debugability on especially iOS stuff, the sort of lack of usability. I have historically been very loath to upgrade the OSs until 3 or 6 months have gone by. It does not seem like the .0 software quality has been good. I don't particularly like the fact that, they hold all the app updates for the annual OS updates, But that being said, I'm happy to be able to load up a terminal and get a decent, Bash or Z shell. Although I've had people, braying about how good the WSL integration is with the Windows 11.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know. It's hard. I am in the. What do they call it? I'm in the. I can't. It's hard to get out of the ecosystem now. I am in the walled garden, and to break free would
The walls
be
are very high.
expensive.
Yeah.
But less expensive than it used to be. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
That being said, I have been using, we upgraded everything to the latest and greatest so that my wife and I could become separate people. And so far, it's mostly okay. We've got the shared album working. Thank you. But then periodically, something will still happen where it's like, oh, well,
yeah,
I can export and give those to you. Actually, what was the most recent? Oh, the most recent one was that I didn't realize that for shared albums, it was either you can post or everyone can post. And so now she and I can't both post to our family shared album that we share with our other family members.
Because you'd have to let everybody
without letting everybody post to it.
Yeah.
Which I did so that she could post to it as well. But it was kind of like, well, and that was her thing. Yeah. She's like, really? You can't control that? Why can't you control that? I'm like, I cannot control why I cannot control that.
iOS 17. Sorry, you'll have to wait.
Yeah, right. iOS 42.
Well, that'll be the good version. We'll finally have the answer.
Right. All right. On to the next.
Your topic.
My topic. Okay. I chose a Krebs article that was about the Zeppelin ransomware and some researchers that discovered a way to basically reverse engineer the decryption keys decryption keys. And then, kind of kept it on the DL for a couple of years, working with the FBI to help companies that got encrypted, get their files back without having to pay the ransom. So, there's a quote here, or part of the article here is about, they kept names anonymized or private. They didn't want to talk about the companies involved, and didn't have permission to talk about that. So condition of anonymity, of course. But anyway, so there's a comment here of an IT manager for a technology manufacturer that got hit with it in May of 2020. It says he'd been on the job less than 6 months. And because of the way his predecessor architected things, the company's data backups were also encrypted by Zeppelin. So not just the live data, but also the backups. How to make a bad day worse. So it says, after 2 weeks of stalling their extortionists, Peter's bosses were ready to capitulate and pay the ransom demand. Peter was just a made-up name. Then came the unlikely call from an FBI agent. Don't pay, the agent said. We found someone who can crack the encryption. So this was Lance James, the founder of a New Jersey firm called Unit 221B. And evidently they figured out a way to recover the public key used to encrypt the files. And then basically it said they ran a 800 CPU cloud. I didn't pull the notes out. That was able to decrypt or reverse the key in about 100 hours. I think it said. So anyway, but it said that in an interview with Krebs, James said they were wary of advertising their ability to crack Zeppelin because it didn't want to tip its hand to the ransomware creators, who were likely to modify their file encryption approach if they detected it was somehow being bypassed. This is not an idle concern. There are multiple examples of ransomware groups doing just that after security researchers crowed about finding vulnerabilities in their ransomware code. The minute you announce you've got a decryptor for some ransomware, they change up the code. So, that's why I was like, it's been at least 2 years, because the other one said that it was May of 2020. And so that's that's good. Evidently, there's a black hat talk going to go on though that they published a blog post. It says a blog post published today to coincide with a black hat talk on their discoveries. James and co-author Joel Lathrop said they were motivated to crack Zeppelin after the ransomware gang started attacking nonprofit and charity organizations. So fortunately, they were able to find a weakness. And the only other thing I kind of pulled out of here was that the FBI and CISA said the Zeppelin actors gained access to victim networks by exploiting weak RDP credentials, sonic wall firewall vulnerabilities, and phishing campaigns. Prior to deploying the ransomware, the actors would spend 1 or 2 weeks mapping and enumerating victim network to identify data enclaves, including cloud storage and network backups, just to make the damage done as large as possible, I guess.
Okay.
So, it's definitely a legit concern. But the more people you help, the more obvious it is that something's got to be going on, or the more likely somebody is to, leak something and find out about it. And,
right.
Double-edged sword. But thank goodness for the people that they were able to decrypt.
Yeah.
So, and I noticed a friend of ours tweeted something about that here the last day or so. So I didn't look to see if this was up on No More Ransom or not, now that it's public.
Right.
But I guess I would assume that something would be. There you go. How about something fun?
Cool. Yeah. So I have a couple something funs. So my first one is a riff on something we've giggled about in the past. Web3isgoinggreat.com. There is now a twitterisgoinggreat.com. So in the same vein, it's exactly what you think it would be. News stories of, things happening at Twitter that are unexpected or
as expected, as bad as expected.
As bad as you think it is. So
yeah.
Anyways, so that's just my first one. Website, go check it out. My second one is, I don't know why I found this hilarious, but I could not stop laughing. It is, I don't know if you clicked the link.
I did not.
It's a blog post, so you can click the link. It's, I quit my programmer job to become a chicken. And it's got a chicken pecking at a keyboard. And there's a whole article with source code that's been written by a chicken, conversation by a chicken, graphs of, the everything that's there. There's a GitHub link, so you can go. There's some pull requests that improve the vocabulary of the chicken. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And it includes a link to chickenipsum.lol. So, there's lorem ipsum, ways to populate, random text places. Well, there's a chicken ipsum.
Oh, come on.
So you can generate chicken text.
I love it.
And then finally, you got to spend the 4 minutes to watch the YouTube video. And it's an old one. It's 15 plus years old at this point. But it's a academic article where the guy doing the presentation only uses the word chicken through his whole presentation. So,
you have got to be kidding me.
It's just funny. So go check out the blog post, check out chickenipsum.lol, and watch the YouTube video and be entertained.
I love the chickenipsum.lol.
So there you go. Those are my something funs. Twitterisgoinggreat.com and chicken. So there you go.
Oh, okay. All right. I will have to try and watch that video.
The video is hilarious.
Okay.
And wait to watch all the way through to the end.
Chicken.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, I will try and do that as soon as we hit stop. All right. Well, I kind of brought two. I have a friend sent me this first article, which is bee related. As my bees are probably very cold out there and hopefully huddled up and staying alive. This is
bust into song now,
right? Uh, it's an article for a young woman who is, got really I guess, excited about bees in 2018. It says when Jane visited an apiary in 2018 and saw piles of dead bees, she felt an innate drive to find out what was happening. It's mites. It's always mites. Mites are our problem.
You've talked about mites before.
Yes. So, but she did a bunch of experimenting, and she came up with a 3D printed hive entrance that basically looks like just a bunch of drilled holes in plastic, but where the plastic is soaked in thymol, which is a natural miticide. And so the bees going in and out of the holes that are sized enough that it basically forces the bees to come into contact with the other side of the tunnel where the mites are. So the mites generally hide on the bees. If they're not in the cell where they go in to reproduce and breed, they're what's called as phoretic, which means they're like riding on the bees. So they're on the bees, but this way the thymol basically doesn't harm the bees, but does harm the mites. And I have used a thymol-based, natural treatments before, which is interesting. But this is kind of cool. It says that since March of 2021, about 2,000 beekeepers have been beta testing the device, and Jane plans on an official release later this year. The data she has collected so far shows that 3 weeks after installation, there's a 70% decline in varroa mite infestations with no reported side effects.
Nice.
And this, this way of treating may make it so that you can treat for longer periods of time. So we'll see. I mean, the problem is that, what do you, you've watched or you've read the Hail Mary Project.
Yep.
What are you doing? You're breeding thymol resistant mites. Is what you do. Anyway, so one of the things about mite treatments in bees is that you want to try to vary your what your effective chemical is basically over the course of the year, so that you're not always trying with the same thing, so you wind up with a population that's all resistant to the same thing. But anyway, but that's very exciting, and it actually made me go, I wonder if I could just 3D print some stuff. I have a 3D printer.
Yeah.
Can I take some of the packets of the thymol based stuff and kind of like make a tea of it, a soup of it, and like print some 3D blocks and soak it in there. And anyway, I've done some wild imagining of experiments that I could run. But I've also then come to the conclusion so far after those mental experiments that if Ms. Jane has them available for purchase, maybe I will just buy some.
That's right.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I had a friend actually text me that link a couple of days ago, and I was like, "Ooh, hey, it's nice to have people that know me." So my second thing is a book that my son actually recommended to me, which I love. But it's called Mother of Learning. And, I think 3 books at least are on Amazon. The 4th might actually only be on Royal Road, but I don't quite remember. It's been a few weeks since I read this series, but I really enjoyed it. And, so answer me one question. Did you enjoy the movie Groundhog Day?
Yes.
Okay. A, that is the right answer to the question. And B, yes, which time? My wife hated that movie, and I loved it. And I think it probably says something about our personalities too. But anyway, the reason I say that is because the main protagonist in this series is stuck in a time loop. So it was very good book. I don't want to ruin anything about it, really, other than that,
Okay.
but which you learn pretty quick. So,
Okay.
But
I will add this to my
as you can imagine,
list.
it was kind of young adult and
Sure.
I think, it was originally self-published. It's kind of now gotten popular enough and that, they're on Kindle and they've got something on Audible and, it's one of those.
I assume a pretty fast read.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I read them all in a week.
Book 4, January 17th, 2023.
2023. Okay. Well, yeah, if you started now, anyway, I had not known about Royal Road before this, but Royal Road is like an online community of like fantasy. It seems like mostly fantasy authors who are, many of them at least, publishing chapters every week and then getting basically Patreon people to pay them, monthly
For
bucks.
the next chapter kind of thing.
Well, actually, so at least some of them, the ones that I've seen, seem like it's like if you want to be able to read chapters ahead, you Patreon, but the one chapter a week kind of comes out like for quote free.
Okay. Right.
And anyway, I was tempted. I didn't actually like donate, but I mean, obviously, I got the books on Kindle. But anyway, check it out. Mother of Learning. It was a series that I read a couple weeks ago, and I really enjoyed. So there you go.
Well, good stuff.
Alrighty. Well, I hope that you have a great Thanksgiving Day tomorrow. I hope that anyone listening had a great, if you're in the States, had a great Thanksgiving Day. And otherwise, you're also welcome to have a great Thursday,
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what next week is, right, John?
December 1st.
Episode 260.
Oh, 5 years. Wow.
5 years that we've only been doing this. That's a long time.
You're old.
I am older than I was when we started.
About 5 years older. Okay, well, maybe we should think about
I've
doing
had a
something.
kid graduate from college since we've started. So
I've killed thousands
start
of
and
bees
finish college
since we sorry, start and finish college. Yeah, right. That's crazy. It's crazy.
All right,
my friend.
we'll see you next week.
Until next week.
Bye.
Bye.